Hi. Today, actually, I don't want to talk to any Torah or anything today. I'm a bit angry today, and I do not know how to express my anger because we all, especially uh, Tamil Nadu people, we all knew what is happening right now in Chennai. A girl named Anita who scored 1,176 marks out of 1,200 and who was a girl from a very poor family. Her father is working as a coolie, and she had four brothers, and her mother passed away. Basically, she was, being raised in a men-rounded place, like a men's hostel, I would say. But because why I say this one, she didn't even have an opportunity to express her womanly feeling in the house. She had to go to relations or some neighbors or some other friends or somebody. So the difficulties, the hurdles that she went through, it was humongous that we cannot express in words. There are no words to express it. In spite of this, she scored a high ranking mark, and her aim was to achieve a doctorate degree in medicine and to serve the poor population in her area. But she died, she killed herself, she suicided herself after applying to the Supreme Court for her case, and that case was rejected, and she was depressed mentally and psychologically, and she got. First of all, it really brings very deep pain in the heart, especially as a Christian. Why I bring this Christianity in this one, um, because um, first, first of all, before going even into the Christianity, as Indians, our social system, our social, the arrangement that they have, it has to be revisited back again because we have a feeling that only we study for a doctor or only we study for an engineer. That's the only two professions that we can live under the sun. I'm telling to everybody today, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, education and money is totally different. You don't have to be a doctor to make money, or you don't have to be an engineer to make money. Education never brings you money. And it is a proven history in all over the world. Even the richest people in the world are not educated. The people, those who are not having education, they own the colleges and universities. And the people, those who have knowledge, they go and study there. See, that's one thing that we should take out from our mind, that only the kids, those who study for medicine and they are the good kids, or only the kids, those who study for engineers, or they are the best kids. We should take out that mentality, mindset from our heart. That's one of the biggest things that we should know, regardless of Christian or regardless of any other community. But the other one I would say, as a Christian, I always say that one, we failed to follow the Christianity properly. That's one of the biggest issues. These are the consequences. These are the outcome results. These are the deliverables of the sin that we were doing right from the first century, that we failed to follow the way that we are supposed to follow. We failed to follow the first century Christianity because it is full of the commandments and covenants, and that we didn't follow that one, and we never followed it because the Bible says that, I told last time itself, Jesus was calling for people, those who want to follow him, to become as an healers, to become as a prophet, to become as a psychologist, or like demon chasers. See, but we as Christians, we are supposed to possess those type of professions than the worldly professions in what we are dwelling now. Because think about this one, folks. If any church is bringing up a lot of people or a lot of kids in order to grow, um, uh, like a like a healer or like a demon chaser. If they train them, if they bring the sanctity in them and teach them and put them in a training. Think about this: the whole church kids will be tomorrow or the future will be the best kids in the world. They'll be healing, they'll be chasing the demons out. So which one you think the most humble and honorable profession? This is what God wanted. I mean, as Christians, we have a very big thing. And today I'm seeing in the churches, it is horrible because we encourage people, those who are studying in the college, and we give them, oh yeah, you scored like 1,200 marks, you get the, gift from the church. We encourage you. So what about the same church? Those kids who didn't even pass the exam, how would they feel? Did you ever address their issues? Did you encourage them to study more, or did you encourage them to bring them? So we are already, doing some kind of a, mental problems there inside the church itself. We cannot bring the word inside our church, folks. That is what I'm trying to tell from the beginning. We forgot the commandments. We were totally gone out into denominations and other stuff, and we totally avoided what we're supposed to do. And especially I'm so sorry for these pastors and evangelists or so-called other people. Their kids are not allowed to go into the biblical way of training them up. No, they are very proud. Oh, my kid is an engineer. My kid is a scientist. My kid is in America. My kid is a doctor. No, they have so much of worldly than a saint. It is so sad. Bible is not. That is why, folks, still we are having trouble in India, that we still have a 5% of people or Christianity minority. It has been mentioned as a minority, and we have 85%. How come we couldn't able to achieve? Because our lifestyle is not the way that the Bible talks about. And we claim so many things out of the Bible. We said that we are the people who are blessed people. I mean, we are the people who are going to get all the blessings of the Bible. And we also claim that we are the light of the world. In Gentile Christianity, tell me what light we shed to this world as a Gentile Christianity people. What light we shed? Like just go and gathering people and calling them into Christianity, telling them to make them, hey, you accept Jesus Christ and our Christianity is increased. Is that the one that we are doing it? What other light that we shed in the world? Go and learn from Israel, and they will teach you how many lights they put in the world. And we are claiming their commandment, their promises, and we are faking ourselves. Folks, this is a hard pain, because a girl, a baby, is like my baby. No, she died. It is painful. Realize that, Christians, we cannot fake ourselves. I want to tell you about the John chapter 6, which talks about the more of quote-unquote theological teachings, especially all the theologians. Most of them, they refer this chapter as a theological chapter. It is the longest chapter there in the John, almost more than 70 verses there. So if you read John chapter 70, Jesus narrates everything. It's a fantastic narrative of how the Christianity should be followed. The chapter talks about three things. One is about, walking on the waters of the sea, and the second is the 5,000 fed, and the third one is the Judas Iscariot, and, is killing of Jesus. There is a lot of teaching in this one. If you see this one, it is always, Jesus would love to preach the gospel in the mountains. He always ran into the mount, and then he was started preaching. And one of the mount, teaching and preaching, the Mount Sermon was absolutely popular, right? So Jesus, the same like Moses did. Moses was giving the Torah, to the people from the mountain, and he led the people in the 40 years by giving the Torah. The same way, Jesus is exactly, the John chapter 6 is exactly almost like a Torah portion that he is giving. Is it that he is replacing the old Torah unto a new Torah? No, it is an extension of what Moses did on the mountain. Jesus did the same thing. He was basically recasting or reproducing or restaging what Moses did in those days. If you clearly walk through the chapters, you will see a lot of miracles Jesus was doing. Jesus will be appear in Jerusalem one time, and the next minute he will be in Galilee. And people will be so surprised to see this one. How come how did you come over here? That was the God's lordship over all the natural forces. So these are the miracles that he was already performing in those eyes. But we, quote unquote, we only take the miracles of 5,000 bread, or the wine, the water turned to wine, and the lame walked, and the blind saw, and the dead raised. But there are other miracles that Jesus was he was performing there. We don't notice all those things. And even about the bread he was talking about. We have something different, because he was quoting on it is the bread is not the bread that you had in the wilderness, because he was addressing these things to the Jewish people, especially to the Jewish people, to know that he is the bread, and he is the future bread, like he has given the life and his soul to redeem everyone, not only the Jewish people, all the other people. But the Jewish people were not accepting him as the Messiah, and what he was telling was really confusing them. And even people who were disciples, they left Jesus when Jesus said that I am the bread and you have to eat and drink of me. Then people were so annoyed, and so many people left him. What is he talking about? How come I can drink his blood? You know what, folks? The point is that in those days, Jewish people were slaughtering animals, and they were giving or sprinkling the blood. It is a symbolic identification of the atonement of themselves, offering to the God completely, totally, and becoming a new person. That was the one that they were offering to the God as a bloodshed, and the animal's bloodshed, making it as an atonement. There's been, they were offering to the God by, it's a mental thing that we can, spiritually, basically, the thing that they're offering themselves. That's the same symbolic way the tables getting turned now in the New Testament way. Now God, he was not sparing his son. He totally offered the son for the sins that we have done in our life. So he shed the blood for our sake. It's a total change of the table that God was offering. That is the implication of the thing that Jesus was telling to them. I am the bread, and I am the blood. I mean, if one who will drink my blood will be saved. The disciples, they could able to understand, because he was the bread. Like Moses was giving the bread, through the manna from God. He was feeding the people through manna. That manna, Jesus is telling very clearly in this chapter 6 of John. He was telling that when you ate that manna, people died in the desert. But when you eat this manna, you will never die. That was Jesus' argument. It could be the manna is nothing but the word. The word became the flesh. He was talking about the word, that if you follow, if you read, and you will never die. Same thing like the Samaritan woman. He was telling about the water. If you drink from me, you will never get thirsty. Because there are a lot of comparisons between this John 6 and the Samaritan woman's story in the previous chapters. Because the bottom line is, the people, they never seen the miracle. The Samaritan people never seen God's miracle, but they accepted Jesus Christ through this Samaritan woman. But whereas here in Judea, people, they saw the miracles. They went through the Red Sea. They saw all the miracles happen in their life, but they do not want to accept Jesus Christ. So this is what Jesus was arguing about this one. Now later on, there was a lot of complications. They said that, the Christians are drinking blood, this and that. But the main purpose is Jesus was teaching them all the things which are covenant-based, commandment-based. They should not be leaving the commandment. They should not be leaving the covenant. But at the same time, Jesus has to be taken as that Messiah. This was his message completely, totally. In the John chapter 6. Think about this one. Most in the same chapter, he talks about the Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot. The Judas Iscariot, think about this. Everybody thinks that he sold Jesus for 30 silver, and so that's why he got, he got sinned and he went and, died himself. But actually, that is not the case. Truly, it's not the case, because we did not know that we just read something on, like a kind of a creamy thing, and we just go away. But that is not the intention, because Jesus was much more popular than that 30 silver in those days, because he was so popular in those areas. People used to follow more than 5,000 and 6,000 and 7,000 in each and every meetings, because they were seeing the miracles happening there. Even in the when he was converting the fish and bread into the 5,000 people he was feeding, there were more than 5,000 people, because the city where he was preaching had only 200 people. All the rest of them came from outside the world, and they were filling only men I'm talking about. So Jesus was much more popular than the 30 pieces of silver. So it is not just because of he sold just for the 30 pieces of silver that what we think. It is something different, because if you take and read the Judas Iscariot life, it is totally unbelievable. That is what I said we should read in a Jewish way. We should read in a Hebrew way, because the Iscariot name is totally, a unique name in the Bible. There is no Iscariot there, because those days there was a group called something like a very radical group. They were against Jewish people. They were against the Jewish people. They wanted to kill all the Jewish people. And now Jesus is coming in the picture. He was also doing the, rejection of Jewish people. And then Iscariot joined here. And, and he was thinking, he was trying to seek a chance to take an vengeance on the Jewish people. So usually it happens, all the revolts, all the revolts happens only in the Passover time, because all the Jewish will gather on those days in Jerusalem, and there will be some kind of a trouble all the time. It happens there. The same thing Judas Iscariot was planning on Jesus, not because of the 30 silver. He was not even betraying Jesus. He was just showing, he was telling to, but when he heard that when Jesus was telling the gospel of the lady, one who was washing his feet with the scent, it will be told all over the world. And that time, Judas Iscariot goes and told the Roman soldiers that, how much you will pay and what will it give if I hand over. He was just handing over to Jesus, to those people. It was not a betraying thing. The biggest sin which he ever did was, he was planning to kill the Jewish people. So he thought, Judas Iscariot thought, if he hands over Jesus to the Roman soldiers, and Jesus will show his lordship, and he will make the war, and he will kill all these Jewish people, and he'll take the possession of this land. So that is what his idea. He wanted to trigger Jesus Christ to show his lordship there, to bring his kingship there, to make his holy ship, the God's power there, to fight against these Roman soldiers and the Jewish people, so that, his will be done. Whose will? Judas will be done. It is almost like the same satanic spirit which he took Jesus in the wilderness and tried to tempt him 3 times. The same spirit Judas Iscariot had, he was triggering Jesus Christ. If he hands over to them, probably he will show his power so that he can get, the war, what he was expecting. That was the more worst sin that Judas Iscariot ever did in his life. It is not only the 30 pieces, that's not the one. The reason behind it is totally different. What I'm saying here is, why should I say this? John chapter 6. Folks, we are thinking in the denominational way, all the grace is coming here, all these things we don't have to follow. But Jesus Christ died and he lived just because of the covenants and to fulfill the commandments. The Torahs were the extension of the Jesus preaching. He extended everything what it was taught before. There's nothing different in that one, folks. I want to urge you and see, you need to think in a better way. You need to think in a way that we should read the Bible. There is no more time left. I'm telling you, this is a heartbreaking moment that when I saw this girl's death, I could not take this one. In the churches, we encourage things like this. Doctors is not the only way to live in this world. I don't think so. I know, because I'm going to tell you one thing today, but you may like it or you may not. I'm not proud about this one. I have seen many more physicians working under me. I used to manage 30 hospitals in this country. I never told this one to anybody that I'm so proud of it. No, I have taught physicians in one area, not in all areas, but certain areas. I have trained them, but I know how many physicians, those who worked under me, were so horrible. They were suffering. I was like, why would you want to do this career? Why you want to take this? Why can't you take something else? You know, we don't know what it is. Kids or whoever it is, you know, you don't force anybody to go for only doctors and put them in a depressive mood. Not everybody should go and study for everything. You know, education in India is so poor. There's no standards over there. How you would expect a physician who pays money for 50 lakhs and 60 lakhs for a medical seat and he is finishing his degree, what type of quality that you are going to expect from him? If MD education costs 3 crores, believe it or not, it's a 1 to 3 course to finish your MD courses. So how you can purchase the education, and how you practice it, how you exercise it, folks. It is so incorrect that we think and be proud of our kids or be proud of our families or be proud of our thing. That's immaterial. It is totally waste of time. If you are a Christian, really, because I realized it very late in my life, because this is what my complaint is. No one taught me until I had to go and research and learn things about it. No one taught me. That's the problem with me. Now I'm at least telling it out there. People listen or don't listen. That's not my problem. But at least you can put in your mind and think about this one. It is not the only profession in the whole world that you can survive. No, not at all. Okay, so there are 15 million other ways that people can make money. But above all, as Christians, we need to possess the professions what God is expecting. Because once you do this one, once you do the will of God, rest of the things will be added in your life. When you seek the kingdom of God, everything will be added. All you need to have in this world is not the education. You need to live, if you want to live a comfortable life, you need some money in that world, right? So God will provide if you do His will, if you go for His will and His professions. Don't be proud of yourself. Don't be proud of, don't think that you are the most educated person in the world or something. That doesn't make anything. First, we must become the children of God. That's the only thing I will tell. I am painful today because of the death of this girl. It is so hurting to me. Christian people, I don't know how much we're contributing to the community, society ways, how much we're doing this. Please, I beg you, think about this one. Bring some radical changes. It needs to be done. It is very emergency situation. I'll come back sometime once I get rid of this from my mind.